I mean the effect of thousands upon thousands of messages that each one of us got while we were growing up, and that effectively instructed us in the rules of the game. You know, what dreams are and are not bankable, what is and isn't possible, how are you supposed to behave in public, what's the reigning definition of success, you know, what are you personally capable of? You know what I'm saying? Who pulls the strings in this game and who dances? And I think the cumulative effect of a lifetime's worth of this kind of conditioning, spoken and unspoken, true or false, forms effectively a kind of hypnosis. It's a kind of hypnosis. And I don't even think it matters whether the messages you got are true or false. Culture itself wouldn't exist without the glue of conformity. I just think that the individuals in it can tend to pay a very steep price for it. And one of the prices that we can pay is losing a working familiarity with who we really are. All right? So, when I think of the notion of a calling, all right, a calling, I think, to some degree cuts through a lot of this conditioning because it emanates from the part of each one of us that knows what it knows. All right? The part of us that knows where other people leave off and where we begin. And by the way, I'm defining a calling very broadly and secularly. These are the messages, the signals, the signs, the promptings, the urgings, even, you know, sometimes the imperatives that come from deep inside your life that tell you what it's going to take to make your own life literally come true. One of the things that jumped out at me over and over again about the people that I talked to, 60 or 70 people at depth, is that almost every single one of those people said they had a practice in their life, and the whole point of it was to strike up a conversation with the maker of the tracks. Some self-reflective practice. They all said it, and nothing extravagant. Daily journaling was probably one of the more common ones. Meditation, contemplative reading, artwork done in the service of self-discovery as opposed to just exhibition. Dream interpretation was really common. Let's see, regular short retreats, regular intimate conversation about things that are close to the heart, and definitely your participation in any sort of group whose members get together for the primary purpose of waking up. And here's something I've seen a lot in my particular line of work. People who wait and wait and wait for the great big calling. You know, the bony finger of God. You know, and frankly, they're missing all the smaller calls that are right at their feet, and which I think of as the fire drills for the bigger ones. Because calls come as passions and gifts and intuitions. An intuition is really clinically is a calling. Dreams. All the religions of the world, from what I can tell, seem to agree that dreams are one of the primary channels through which the gods and the goddesses have historically spoken to the mortals. So calls come as things like a conversation you overhear in like a restaurant that seems like it addressed something that's going on in your life right now. That's a little call. They come through a decision that needs to be made in your life now, not backburnered another year or another 5 years. You know, some issue that's hanging over your head, waiting for resolution. That's a call. They come through the patterns that have established themselves in your life by this point in time. Right? In other words, you've worn a footpath to and from some issue in your life, lesson you've endlessly had to learn. So where does head argue with heart? What is that drama? There's a call in there. Where does passion rub up against security? Primary drama in people's relationships to their vitality, I think. Passion and security. All right? Where does walk not quite match talk? Where do you fight with people? What are you fighting for? So friction. And calls definitely come through the body. In fact, I have an entire chapter in the book called The Language of the Body, because the word symptom means a sign. And on what I have learned since then about what's involved in following a calling, that experience has a lot in common with it, in the sense that I was caught by surprise and carried off by something much bigger than me, in that it was nerve-wracking and thrilling simultaneously, and in that the elephant couldn't have cared less. Couldn't have cared less. And I'll tell you what I mean by that comment. I've discovered a very unsettling truth. My soul does not seem to care what price I have to pay to follow my calls. Frankly, I hate this. This seems like a design flaw to me or something. You know, it seems like it ought to care, but my happiness, my security, my popularity, my vanity don't seem to matter to it. It's not interested in making me rich or famous. It's not interested in whether I live a comfortable life. It's not even interested in whether people like me or not. But what does seem to matter is hanging on to the elephant. That does seem to matter. The willingness to go for the ride, the big ride. The one that ensures that someday, if your life happens to be flashing in front of your eyes, at the very least it will hold your interest.